Hi guys! Welcome back to my channel and another episode in my med school series. Actually, this is the last vlog for the series, and today I'll be sharing with you the things I wish I knew before starting medical school and the lessons I've learned after 5 years in UPCM. So take note that what I will be saying is subjective and based on what I experienced. It is different for every person, but I still do hope that as you watch this video, you will still be able to get something out of it. I gotta say, before I started medical school, I told myself I wanted to have a life this time around. Because during pre-med, while I had friends, I spent most of my time studying, advancing chapters, and asking questions sa mga professors ko if I didn't understand a certain topic. So even before I started med school, after I graduated from UST, where I had my pre-med, I started already browsing possible things I can join during med school. And, as soon as I got there, I joined something. So I guess the introductory advice I can give, most especially if you're just about to enter medical school or, anything really, before you get into something, make sure that you can handle it and balance it with other things. And if you can't, be ready for what you can lose and have a plan how you can make sure that above all the meetings and the things you have to do with your extracurriculars, that you can still have time to make yourself pass every subject, whether it's in med school or whatever graduate school you're in, or even, if you're like in college, right? So that being said, medical school is really another kind of beast from pre-med. And while I don't regret anything because of the friends I gained and the lessons I learned, sometimes I also wish I gave more time to studying and reading more, most especially since I need to know everything I possibly can for the PLE. While I didn't regret, that I chose to have a life in med school, I do regret some things. I'm the eldest among my siblings, and I'm the only one who went to medical school. And so, I didn't see anyone in my house going through it all from like first year till internship. I went through it all, seeing it for the first time with my own eyes. And I wish someone told me what to do sometimes, like how I would tell my sister to study for certain subjects when we were back in grade school because she would end up taking the classes I had with the same teachers. So this vlog is I'm going to tell you my regrets so that you won't make the same mistakes. So konti lang naman siya. I mean, even if I had an extracurricular and work at the side, I still did my best pa naman. But there are some things na I wish na I started early on during med school so that, I have them all compiled na I can use it for my review during the PLE. First, in medical school, apart from the facts from books that you have to know for all the subjects, there are clinical things you learn during small group discussions or oral exams. So in UPCM, we call this SGD or small group discussion. And sometimes you also have oral exams or the OSCE. So the OSCE happens sometimes, usually when a module or a certain subject is about to end. But SGDs happen a lot more from time to time, especially, during the module itself in different topics or subtopics. There's a SGD once in a while. So in small group discussions wherein you are given a clinical case that you will discuss as a group in your block, I advise you as early as first year and your first SGD, I advise you to make sure that you compile all your cases and the PowerPoint or paper presentations your group will be making in a nice folder in an organized way in your computer per topic. So example, during your first year, if you get topics about the GI tract like cases involving appendicitis, constipation, and the like, then collect them and put them under one folder. Save it and make sure it doesn't get lost and it doesn't get not organized. So why? Because, well, there are only so much cases in med school. So usually a number of similar topics repeat. Like first year pa lang, you get an SGD with appendicitis, and then when you're intern, yun din yung SGD topic. So though the patient profile is different, the symptoms, signs, and cases have similarities. It's good to compile this neatly so that once you encounter the same case again, you won't need to start research from scratch. And when you see a patient with the same symptoms in your OPD duty, and especially during your community rotation wherein sinaba ka na lang dun sa community and talagang parang doctor ka na talaga, you can go back to these files, look at the diagnostics you decided to do as a group, the treatment you gave. At least it's like a backbone of what you need. It's something I recommend doing and something I wish I did ever since first year, because by the time I wanted to compile the PowerPoint files, the scenario of the SGD, the clinical case given, or any research I did about it, parang, ang dami na nangyari sa med school, and being my OC self, hindi na inspiring to compile. So, dapat first year pa lang, I hope na makakompile na kayo. So, second, I hope someone told me what I needed to focus on for the boards. As early as now, especially if example first year ka pa lang or incoming med ka pa lang, I want you to know na every year in med school is a learning review for the boards, not for you. So, don't forget forget whatever you're gonna study kasi you can just never forget it or else may hirapan ka if you reach the last year tapos nakalimutan mo na lahat or basta always go back to like example tapos ka na in a certain module tapos ka na example sa respiratory system na module kailangan binabalik mo pa rin siya like diba minsan when we study for an exam aral ka example for cardio tapos pagtapos na kakalimutan mo na siya to put more information in your brain for another topic so bawal yun. Huwag niyo gawin yon kasi kayo mahirapan in the end. So, after medical school and internship, you will have the exam of your life, which includes all the subjects in medical school. So, imagine, that's like 5 years of studying in one exam, di ba? Na you have to know and remember. So, I advise you to really understand microbiology and pharmacology above anything else. If I were to go back in time, I would make sure I was slowly studying microbiology when I was in first year pa lang till I finished it. Like, kasi per organism naman yun eh. So, you can do one organism per week. You can allot maybe 1 day or half a day per week or like a day sa weekend during your first year. Kasi pag first year pa lang, wala ka naman duty. Mostly, study ka lang dyan. Feeling ko kaya naman siya in a year. Just give time for it and make sure you make tables to easily compare one microbe from another or one fungi from another. Ako nag-try naman ako. Ginawa ko yun during the pandemic. Nag-advance ako ng microbiology. Pero the thing is, binasa ko lang siya. Hindi ako gumawa ng table. So, example, today, alam ko tong microbe na to. Tas tomorrow, mag-aaral ako ng bagong microbe. Nakalimutan ko na yung, well, hindi ko pa naman nakalimutan totally agad yung inaaral ko kahapon. Pero alam mo yun, gawa ka ng table para you can see the bigger picture. So, ako kasi ginawa ko lang one microbe per page, tapos hindi ko naman talaga sila kinumpare contrast each other. And kailangan kasi yun when you're studying for the boards and taking the exam. Kasi, di ba, may clinical case, tapos may iba-ibang choices na may iba-ibang organism. So, kailangan ma-identify mo alin yun doon. So, important na hindi ka lang basa ng organism, ng fungi. Kailangan gumawa ka ng tables, i-compare mo sila, and what makes one different from the other para, you know, you can easily eliminate the other choices in a certain question. So, in first year, siguro you can start with microbiology, and come second year, you will have pharmacology naman na. Pharma is really hard, especially when you're studying it for the first time. Like ako, when I had pharma, I was like, what the heck is this? I mean, alam ko yung mga gamot and stuff, but there's just so much more to it talaga. But you know, like studying for it during my review for the boards, ang bilis ng pala niya and ang saya-saya pala mag-answer ng pharma questions. So, kailangan itindihan mo lang talaga siya. So, if there's a topic you have to master in this big subject na pharmacology, it's the sympathetic and parasympathetic drugs. Kailangan alam nyo talaga yun by heart na kahit nakapikit kayo, alam nyo siya. Like, know these drugs by heart as well as the antibiotics, heart drugs, and CNS drugs. So, because these eat up a lot of points during the PLE. And make sure, after memorizing them by heart, make sure you go back to them from time to time, otherwise you will forget and this will be all for nothing. As in, promise guys, kahit how smart you are, mafu-forget you talaga siya kasi everyday may bagong pumapasok. So syempre, di ba sa Netflix pag nag-add sila ng bagong movie, may tinatanggal din sila. So I think ganun din yung brain natin. Pero pag na-understand mo talaga siya, kahit papasok ka ng bagong topic, pag in-understand mo talaga siya, pag binalikan mo, mabilis mo na siya ulit maintindihan. So parang may app din where you can make flashcard, but I've never done it kasi during med, which I regret, no? Maybe you can find an app that can do flashcards digitally so that para you can just quiz yourself from time to time kasi baka hindi mo na mabasa lahat ng notes mo. At least, pag nag-answer ka ng question, maalala mo siya. If I were to study something during internship naman, I think I will master legal med already. I know na it's the easiest subject in the PLE, pero yun nga, it's the easiest. So, it would be nice to ace this subject kasi nga, it's the easiest. Pampahatak siya ng ibang mga mahihirap. Pero, kahit last mo na aralin yun during internship kasi puro memorization lang naman siya. Pero mas maganda sana kung i-perfect mo na yun kasi mabilis lang siya. Kasi 'di ba, you have to make your strengths even stronger. Then anatomy takes a really long time to memorize if that's your weakness. So then it could be nice to study this subject also apart from pathology. So I think you can try to a lot, even just a few hours at least every week for the PLE during your entire medical school until masanay kayo kasi you never know what you can finish in those few allotted hours na can help you during your review time when you reach the end of things. And it will help you feel more prepared if you take the PLE na. Tapos, yung Big Four, which the IM Surgery, Pedia, and OB, matututunan mo naman siya during clerkship and internship. So third, I wish I only used one device or like a certain app where I placed all my notes during clerkship and internship. When I was a clerk during duty, so it was kasi bumalik kami sa duty when clerkship was ending na. Parang a few months na lang mag-e-end na yung clerkship, then magiging intern na kami. It was so biglaan talaga. Like, half the second year of med school till half the third year, di ba, online lang kasi pandemic. Anyway, when I was in duty as a clerk, yung pagbalik namin, that was during my IM rotation. IM na siya, pero parang 1 week left na lang or 1.5 week. Ganun na lang ka-short yung IM. Di ba important yung IM rotation? Ang dami nangyayari sa rotation na yun. Tapos sobrang konti lang yung exposure namin doon as a clerk. Well, for my block. So yun na nga, when I was a clerk during duty, I saw my classmate carrying a super small notebook during the rounds. Parang blue feather na maliit na notebook, pinakamaliit na size. And then nagsusulat siya habang nag-rounds. Ako, ang gamit ko noon, cellphone lang. Like, pag may sinasabi yung resident, tinatype ko lang sa phone ko, sa notes app. So when I saw her writing her notes in that notebook, I thought it was a very good idea. Like, kasi syempre paper yon, baka mas maganda na sulatin to feel the paper, ganon. So I did the same. But the thing is, in the long run, you don't really have that same notebook with you all the time. Sometimes you will forget it, or sometimes lessons from rounds are random and your little notebook might not be with you. And to be honest, being my OC self, I just wish I had all my notes from my duty in one place. Sana nag-phone na lang ako using, like, let's say, the notes app. Pero I wish I made folders for each rotation. Kaya I am rotations. First week, ito yung learning. Second week, yan yung learning. And then another folder, pedia rotation, di ba? Kasi ako, during that time, I had a notebook, yung maliit na notebook, na linalagay ko sa Monits kit ko with my BP app, PulseOx, ganyan. And minsan naman, di ba, hindi ko naman dala-dala lagi yung med kit ko. So, minsan, wala sa akin yung notebook. So, tendency, I will use my phone. So, I had a notebook. I have a main phone. I have my second phone. I have my laptop. So, imagine lahat yun, may mga notes. So, ang dami-daming files. Tapos, hindi naman siya nakakategorize per folder. So, what am I saying? Maybe if you aren't OC, then maybe you can have all your notes all over the place. But just like your SGD files na I said in my first advice, have your notes in one place in different folders na nakakategorize. If I could do it all over again, I would just use one main phone, my Samsung one. You know, I love Samsung. You can copy paste in the clipboard, and if you want to paste it, it's just there again. Or maybe in a certain notes app. I think sa iPhone, okay na talaga yung Notes app di ba? Pero meron din naman Notability for the iPad. Basta in one app and place lang, categorized in different folders. Para like example, for your OPD, alam mo yon, you can like go back to the certain topic, you can look for it fast. Or biglang, minsan may strict na consultant, tapos magtatanong na lang sa'yo, or minsan during the OR, quiz ka, tapos hindi ka nakapag-aral beforehand, at least you have your notes na you got during rounds or during SGDs in one folder lang. So, alam mo yun, you can read that before the OR will start. Okay, and the last thing na I wish someone told me, medyo obvious siya, and it might sound ridiculous, obvious, and weird, pero I wish someone told me again and again, repetitively, na I could never forget whatever I studied or saw in medical school or during internship and clerkship kasi kailangan talaga siya for the PLE. Sorry guys if, example, magpo-first year pa lang kayo or pre-med pa lang kayo tapos I'm talking about the PLE na, no? Kasi, you know, you won't really realize that you have to take the exam until you're already at like, matatapos ka na from internship. And, you know, by that time, if you didn't prepare yourself well, you know, it would also be nice to enter the PLE feeling, of course, prepared and, you know, that you know something and you don't start from scratch. So that's why I keep mentioning the PLE, and I do hope na you watch this yung parang first year ka pa lang, when things aren't too late. Kasi ako, when I was from first year to fourth year, parang I know it will happen, but I don't know talaga na ang hirap pala niya or ang dami palang i-aaral in like 2 months if you're gonna take October, or even if you take March, parang hindi pa rin enough yung time kasi ang dami talaga ng coverage. And I wish someone told me, you know, what to actually focus on. I know it might sound obvious na syempre hindi mo talaga pwede kalimutan, di ba? Pero, you know, but when you're in med school and then you're dying during duty and you're so tired, parang, you know, you just live a day at a time. And sometimes you just, you know, when you hear things, you hear through in here and then out sa kabila. So, I mean, dapat naman talaga you take a day at a time. Pero guys, I'm just saying, never forget what you learned today, tomorrow. If you do, mamproblema talaga ikaw. Like, not just for the PLE, but also when you're an intern na. Kasi lalo na during surgery, OR, diba, alam mo, nag-surgery yung consultant or yung resident. Tapos, alam mo yun, biglang may moment of silence. Tapos, ang gagawin niya, magka-quiz na lang siya sa'yo about, let's say, yung topic ng OR, yung case ng patient. Tapos, diba? Or minsan tatanong niya sa'yo the most simplest question like, what layer of the skin is this? Or what are the layers of the skin? So, syempre, diba? Sana naman masagot mo siya. And so, if hindi mo makalimutan yung inaral mo ng first year, masasagot mo yung tanong na yun. So, I just don't want you to like be in a certain OR tapos hindi mo alam yung sagot, or like alam mo siya tapos hindi mo lang naalala. I know you won't probably have a lot of time to do it, pero I wish you can find your own technique for you not to forget, and a technique that will make you remember. Siguro okay na talaga na mag-note take kayo, pero hindi kasi enough yun. Dapat talaga basahin niyo siya paulit-ulit. Kaya nga, it's nice na from first year pa lang may notes na kayo. Kasi when you go to clerkship and internship, per rotation kasi yon. And if may notes kayo from first to fourth year, during your certain rotation, mababalikan mo talaga siya. So, if wala kayong notes, I mean, ano babalikan nyo? Babalikan nyo lahat ng trances? Sobrang haba nun. Like, magpapanik lang kayo, tapos tatamarin lang kayo. So, if I could go back, sana talaga, mas binalikan ko talaga yung mga inaral ko yesterday and the day before, you know, once in a while. So, yun lang naman, four things. Four things I wish I knew before med school. Baka obvious sa inyo, kasi sometimes it sounds obvious naman din to me, pero alam mo yun, when you're there, you just want the day to end. Minsan nakakalimutan mo that you have to look at the long run. So, I hope that this video will remind you of like, you have to get through today, but you also have to think about tomorrow. So, nevertheless, I also don't regret how med school ended up for me. I met good, great friends, my barkada, my special friend, who's now my boyfie, and I gained confidence in little ways with each learning I gained from every mistake. So now for the things I've learned. So what I'm gonna say, these are not academic learnings, baka naghanap kayo ng academic tips. So I think more than the academic stuff, the thing I think UPCM and PGH gave me the most, or I think, you know, wherever you go to med school and wherever you have your internship, I think that the thing you will gain the most talaga is experience. Because, you know, with everything I've been through, happy, sad, hard, complicated, you know, all the tea that came with it, I think I was able to know myself a lot more, what I can do and what I am capable of doing and handling. Everything also made me realize what service is about and who deserves it the most. Pre-med and UST and seeing, you know, the people around the streets of España and the Pitan humbled me as a person. Coming from ICA, which is a private school, and, you know, when you go out of that school, it's nice and clean, you know, but in PGH, it's an entirely different story. The people around Taft, around outside PGH, and even the patients inside, they're like Grab drivers, mga yung nagde-deliver ng parcels nyo, tricycle drivers, sometimes yung person sa street na nakahubad kasi hindi na siya of sound mind. Ganun yung mga patients doon. Minsan, street children, diba? And every day, even if I felt like I needed more sleep after duty because, you know, it was really very tiring, and ang daming to-dos, hindi nakapag-nap a bit during duty. For some reason, even if things are hard and tiring, I still find the push to get up each day and to do it all over again. You know you made your med school worthwhile if you learned not just academically, but learn about yourself as well and what you can do and what you are made for. And of course, if you also realize why you're doing this, who you're doing this for, and that being a doctor isn't just about like earning, it's really about really helping. And if you realize that during med school and internship, I think that's when you can say na talagang you really learned something, kasi it's really the experience that makes you a stronger individual, and it's really this experience na maybe in the future, I think when you look back, it will remind you of why you're doing this in the first place, and that can be your source of inspiration. So the first thing na I really learned, I think most of my learnings talaga came from internship. I mean, syempre I learned academic stuff from first to fourth year, pero during internship talaga, when I was really there in the hospital almost every day for 12 hours, I really realized a lot of things that doesn't just involve memorizing the academic stuff and the medical stuff, but learn things that you see during duty, and it's an experience, and then you get to know a lot of people, how certain patients are, and the different attitudes of patients and the parents or the bantays of these patients. It's really during internship when you, in a way, see it all. So the first thing I realized during internship is that you really have to take things a day at a time. Med is hard, and internship is really even harder because it's very tiring. Well, luckily, during, our time now, it's just 12-hour duties. Kasi before daw, mga 24 hours pa daw and more. Pero, well, nakapagod din yung 12 hours, and it's really important you take things at a time. But if there's one thing I learned, as you take each day, like one step at a time, or, a day at a time, the next thing you know, natapos mo na yung internship. And as you're taking your day at a time, spend the hours learning, not gossiping or laughing out loud in the call room about a certain tea or a certain resident or a certain blockmate. Yes, it's okay to have fun each day, like while you're on duty, bond with your blockmates, but also remember not to make fun of others, gossip about others just to pass time, diba? Just use your time more wisely, diba? So, there is time for fun and time for study. And for me, during duty, basta pag duty talaga, it's duty time, and if my downtime, and if I can nap a bit, I will. But if I'm not napping, I make sure I use that to study, review, kahit feeling ko hindi naman siya super, pumapasok kasi I'm so tired, and then may mga to-dos, in the middle of things, diba? Duty time is school time for me. And then, when I'm off or post-duty, that's playtime. I can have fun with my friends, go out with Miguel. That's the things I do after duty. Also, I advise you to finish everything you have to do duty-related during your duty. Kasi during duty, may mga downtime talaga. And marami kasing to-dos, yung mga procs or procedures wherein you have to, let's say, insert a Foley or get blood, yung mga ganun lang naman. So make sure that you do everything during your duty so that, when the bell rings and 7 p.m. na or 7 a.m. na, and then post-duty ka na, hindi ka magsastay and mag-extend sa duty time mo. Kasi ako, ayoko yung nag-extend kasi I've been in the hospital for 12 hours. So, syempre, I also want a life outside the hospital. So, that's why, during my duty time, I make sure I finish everything related to my duty during that span of time so that I wouldn't have to extend my duty hours. Kasi that should be my rest time na. Imagine, I'm duty for 12 hours and I only have 12 hours of my life left for myself and my family. So, I really budget that time. So, dapat runun kayo mag-budget ng time nyo. Personally ako, pag 7 p.m. on the dot, I make sure 15 minutes before natapos ko na yung pagkukolekta ng urine cups or kung may fecalysis na kailangan ko i-collect and ipasa sa labs. Hindi ko na inaantay na 7 p.m. tapos magpo-compile pa lang ako ng mga i-endorse ko sa next duty team. Kailangan natapos ko na siya within my duty. That's my advice for you. Take things a day at a time. Use your time wisely. And when it's duty time, it's really duty time. It's okay to chit-chat and stuff, but make sure natapos mo na yung gawa mo. Hindi yung daldal ka ng daldal, tapos pag 7 p.m. na mag-extend ka, or alam mo yun, you want other people to extend with you. Syempre, we each have our own lives, and we have things we want to do. Personally, I want to do things outside duty time that doesn't involve duty. So at the same time, don't wish that your duty will be a benign duty, especially if bago ka palang na clerk or intern. Why? Be grateful if toxic ka and busy, because that's when you will learn. In duty kasi, there's a term na benign magnet or toxic magnet. Pag benign magnet ka during duty, walang nangyayari or konti lang nangyayari or chill or walang namamatay kasi benign magnet ka. Pero pag toxic magnet ka, ang daming to-dos, ang dami mong procs, ang dami mo kailangan kunan ng blood and i-folly or dalhin sa x-ray or biglang ang dami na mamatay tapos nako-code tapos syempre diba nakakapanik yun. So I have been a benign magnet from clerkship to internship. Imagine during clerkship, diba I said earlier na we went in clerkship during our IM rotation na medyo patapos na or basta alam ko talaga few weeks na lang, yung dapat kasi 4 weeks tapos parang naging 2 weeks na lang siya or a bit less. And during the few 12-hour duties I had, I was so benign na nakatulog pa kaming clerks and interns for a few hours pag hindi ka naka-deck for monits kasi nga walang masyadong nangyayari. Thankfully, walang namamatay during that time. Pero because nga of benignness, when I was a clerk, kasi syempre kakabalik lang din ng interns from the pandemic, so they also need to practice procedures and do yung mga to-dos kasi syempre kailangan marunong sila mag-extract, mag-foley, mag-NGT, diba? So syempre as clerks,
yung gumagawa talaga ng procs is yung mga interns. Kasi kailangan nila yun, mag-graduate na sila. Kailangan alam nila yung mga simple procedures. So, of course, if benign yung duty, konti lang yung procs. So, since gagawin na ng interns, wala nang matitira masyado for clerk. So, ang tendency, like ako, during that time rotation, I would just observe the intern, which I really appreciate since talagang first time pa lang naman talaga kami sumabak sa duty. And during that time, di ko pa alam paano mag-foley, ano yung mga materials na kailangan i-collect. Tapos, talagang first time pa lang ako nag-extract ng blood. Tapos, grabe, like, bago pa talaga lahat. So, when I finished clerkship, nakagawa naman ako ng extractions on my own kasi marami talagang kinukunan ng dugo kasi ang daming patients sa PGH. Pero yung foley, parang hindi pa ako nakagawa by myself na walang intern na nag-oversee. So, when I was an intern na, I felt like I wasn't ready to do a foley or an NGT by myself. Actually, when I was a clerk, wala talaga ako ng NGT kahit isa. So, imagine, kasi nga benign magnet ako, yung ibang blockmates ko, may isa, like, sobrang toxic niya. Ang dami niya nagagawa during duty. Ako, parang walang masyado nangyayari. So, less practice din yun for me. So, what I'm saying is, as much as you want to be benign, don't wish it too much. Siguro, pag mag-e-end na kayo ng internship, and ang galing-galing nyo na sa procs, pwede na kayo mamigay ng procedure sa mga clerks. Pero, if bago pa lang kayo, be thankful na may mga nagagawa kayong to-do. But, as internship went along, talagang napapractice ko naman na each procedure. So, from being an intern during my first day na hindi ako marunong mag-foley in NGT, towards the middle, sa daming patients sa kailangan i-foley, talagang na-master ko na siya, tsaka NGT. There was this one time sa ER, 3 patients yun, all male, kailangan nila ng foley. Imagine one after another, tapos nagawa ko siya so fast kasi sobrang daming patients, sobrang daming experience and practice na binigay sa akin ng PGH. I was able to be very good at it na. For the second one, I want to share with you something my mentor shared with us. And it's that the people you meet either become your friends or your enemies. Somewhere along that line. And that's true. When everyone is tired all the time, patients won't come pouring down like rain. Like, of course, everyone's tired, and, the last thing there is long patience. And sometimes, fall things spread like wildfire in the hospital. Like, you'll be surprised how something happened and the next thing you know, umabot na siya sa resident or consultant level. Ganun kabilis yung gossip or tea kung paano kumalat sa hospital. But the important thing is you have at least one good friend. Like, have at least a good friend in med school. If you don't have a lot, then have at least just one. My dad always told me to at least find one good best friend. So your real friends will know what kind of person you are, who you really are, and will be able to distinguish if what others are saying about you is real or not. Because when everyone is tired and you're working with a lot of people, things can be said here and there. It's in times like that you will get to realize how amazing it feels like to have true friends. And I only wish that you will have your own set of friends to rely on, to have mini rants to, and someone you can trust. If not for my barkada, I don't think I will be happy at all in med school and internship. Believe it or not, when I was in first year, during the first 2 weeks of first year medical school, I was a freshie. I was homesick in my condo and I would always cry before I went to sleep kasi I was so sad and I didn't find, the right set of people to hang out with during break time, or it's a new environment kasi. Like, most of the people in class, mga UP sila, they knew each other, and ako UST. So parang I was just there, and then, how will you find a friend when most of everyone has their own circle already? But when I met the right people and the right table, and I thank God for giving me fun and happy people, happy friends, because they took all my sadness and homesickness away talaga. I really had fun in med school because I met the right set of friends. I had my sisters, and I will do it all over again just as long as I have them by my side. So I love table very much, and I am so grateful my friends welcomed me even if I was the only one from a different college from pre-med. I can't even tell you how happy I was every day in med school, especially during first to second year before the pandemic took class away, diba? Naging homeschool. Imagine every day may break time or in between subjects, I was just with my table mates, and super fun nila kasama kasi minsan medyo wild din yung isa. Tapos parang, kahit ang hirap ng med, pero ang saya-saya ng friends ko, parang saya-saya ko na rin. And because of that, I look forward to going to school every day. And then, bonus pa, because God gave me my special friend, first year pa lang. Bonus talaga yun, kasi hindi naman ako naghahanap ng special friend at that point in time. Ang hiningi ko lang sa kanya, a group of good friends, para happy ako, hindi ako lonely. Pero nagsama pa siya ng admirer. So, thank you, Lord. And yes, Miggy, ikaw yun. Pero, I'm just so grateful to my table mates. So, Arian, Fatima, Cessa, and Abot. Talagang, I'm just so happy. And sana maka-find din kayo ng own set of barkada nyo. Kasi, these are the people talaga who will really keep you going. And kahit hindi na kami magkasama in a table during clerkship and internship, yung friendship andun pa rin until now. And I'm really just so grateful kasi not everyone gets to have someone like that in their lives. And third lesson, be nice and don't complain all the time. Alam nyo guys, it might sound a bit harsh, but I did this to myself, diba? But don't complain too much. Like, okay lang naman sometimes, but not all the time to the point na nakakainis na siya. Kasi, diba, ikaw din naman nag-fill up ng application form for med school, diba? Unless hindi ikaw yung nag-fill up. And I'm sure ikaw talaga yung nasa interview during med school kasi pag med school, kailangan talaga ng interview, diba? I'm sure ikaw yun, di naman pwede iba unless may twin ka tapos siya nagpunta for your interview, diba? So, ikaw talaga yun. So, basically, you place yourself in this situation. Pinasok mo to. So, sisisihin mo, diba? So, don't, blame other people or complain too much. And the fact that nakapasok ka in med school, whatever med school pa yan, it's because those interviewers saw something in you. Or maybe you said something na made them see something in you. So when things get hard, don't blame anyone or don't blame the system all the time. Just stay humble. Just do the best that you can. Just use your time well. Matatapos mo rin talaga yan. So fourth, it's okay to rest. Sometimes when you're too saturated, it's really okay to sleep and not do anything after duty but just sleep. Like, you can take a break because, guys, life is so short. You have to take care of yourself. You can't afford to get sick also because if you go absent, you have to make up for that absence, diba? So use your time doing the things you love with the people you love, whether it's going out, shopping, or opening a blind box, even if it means wasting around 550 pesos, diba? So it's really okay to rest, to have fun. I know I said that you have to prepare for the PLE, to study on your downtime and review, pero you can't just keep studying all the time or reviewing. Like, you also need life outside med, life outside the hospital. And fifth, faith is really very important. Believe in the higher power. For me, that's God, Lord Jesus. I don't know who it is for you. For Sheldon from Big Bang, that's science, diba? All I can say is, fear fades as faith grows, and while you're told to trust the process, you also have to trust yourself. You have to believe you can do it and believe that God will help you while you're helping yourself. If you feel tired and sad, just go to a quiet corner and think of how lucky you are and who you are doing this for. And if you don't remember the answer, then just go back to your med school interview day and the things you said for your interviewers to see something in you. And finally, the last, and the thing na gusto ko talaga mag-stick sa isip nyo is don't forget. Don't forget not only what you will learn academically or clinically, but also don't forget the things that you will learn in between and how med and internship shaped you as a person. Don't forget what it feels like to help a patient even in the smallest ways, such as, giving them the correct directions kasi nawawala sila sa hospital. Don't forget what it feels like when a patient tells you thank you and how good of a doctor you are even if you don't have your license yet. Don't forget what you saw through your eyes, most especially those patients who can't afford. Always remember to be kind, but most especially be strong. So, you have to be strong, guys. You have to be strong for you to be able to go on each day and do it again tomorrow. You have to be strong for you to be able to rise up and get up despite hearing if ever there's false gossip going around about you. You have to be strong even if you feel like you're dying every single duty. I died a lot during internship. As in, I could literally sleep standing. But, don't forget to get up and wake up. So set an alarm, guys. Because, you have to do it again tomorrow. And because you have to do it for yourself. To that person who decided to choose a BS course. To the person who decided to complete all the med school requirements for their application 5 years ago, or maybe wherever you are now. Just look at where you are now. Maybe you're in first year, second year, third, fourth year, internship. But you know what the difference is? You aren't an applicant anymore. You're actually there. As in, actually there in med school. So don't waste it. Not everyone gets the chance to be there and in your shoes, to be able to study and to one day save lives if you haven't yet in your own small way. So do it for your family, your patient, but most of all for yourself. You won't finish unless you keep going, and you can only keep going if you don't forget your whys. whether you're there because you want it or maybe someone else wants it for you, you're already there. So just keep going, diba? Like what Dory says in Finding Nemo, just keep swimming. So good luck in med school, and I hope that you are able to start it correctly, properly, in an organized manner, and end it feeling like you're ready to start a new chapter on the actual day of your graduation, and that you won't have any regrets. So give it your best every day. I know that you have self-doubt right now, and believe me, I've been there too. I've been there for 5 years. But conquering med school and the boards as a normal student, I know that you will be able to do it, because if I did it, then so will you. So good luck, and see you on the other side, and I hope that through my med school series vlog, I was able to help you in even just the smallest way. So thank you so much for watching this video, and when you're done with med school, when you pass the boards, let me know in the comments. So see you in my next vlog, and remember that if we did it, then so can you. See you guys!
I will search the world, I will face its harms, till I find my heroes welcome